Patience in the Seahawks search for the next head coach has paid off. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show, where we love Seattle pro sports. I'm your host, Mikey, and today we are talking some Seahawks, of course. Just some general news first. Since the last time we talked, Shane Waldron was hired as the Bears' offensive coordinator. He's taking that job there. Looks like he could be taking some other staff members that were in the offensive room, staff room. He'll be taking some of them with him. And yeah. Again, congratulations to Waldron. I'm not too upset about it. I hope that he has success and that, that he can have a successful career. I'm just not, you know, disappointed that he won't be trying it here. Okay, so we know some coaches that are leaving. I believe I also saw. I don't have as much information on this because this just came out before I was sitting down to record. But it looks like Clint Hurt, the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks the last 2 seasons, is being hired by the Eagles to be the defensive line coach, is what it's looking like. And again, congratulations to him for finding another job. Hopefully, he will get things figured out and have some success over there and have a good career. Because we're not wishing for anybody to not have football careers. It just if they aren't getting the job done here, then we want to see them keep trying here. So I'm glad he gets to keep trying, but I'm just glad it's somewhere other than here. All right. So now we want to talk about some coaches that we possibly could have and how the patience has paid off for the Seattle Seahawks in their search for the next head coach. We will know the next head coach soon. I mean, maybe by the time you are finding this, the next head coach has already been announced. I'm recording this on Monday night. We know that Ben Johnson had a second interview today. They flew over there in person to have an in-person interview with Ben Johnson. They couldn't do that the first time around because they were in the playoffs, so you could only do the Zoom meetings with coaches. And then Mike McDonald, he is scheduled to have an interview with the Seahawks on Tuesday. They have not interviewed Mike McDonald at all yet because at the time they could have put in the request to interview him. They had not decided if they were moving on from Pete Carroll or not. So by the time they decided that, it was already too late. It was outside the window for them to request the interview. They've been waiting for him, and on Tuesday they will now get the chance to interview him. Obviously, the Lions and the Ravens both being eliminated playoffs, these guys are now available to interview in person. Dan Quinn, he's getting a third interview with the Commanders. Obviously, he's been here a couple of times already as well. So, really, we're going to have great choices. Look, it's down to the Commanders and us. We're the only 2 teams left at the moment who have not hired a head coach. And there's 3 great options in my eyes. One, you have Dan Quinn. He's the option where you say, hey, he's got experience as a head coach. He knows what it takes to get it done in that position, and he's been in your organization. He should fit well into the culture there. He should fit well with understanding how John Schneider wants to work, because John Schneider is going to be the one fully taking reins of the way this organization is built now. So Dan Campbell already has, or not Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn already has that built-in relationship with him. They should be able to get along just fine in figuring out what they want to build their team going forward. Okay, so that is one of the big benefits of Dan Quinn. Another big benefit of Dan Quinn is because he is experienced in the NFL for so many years, as coaching at different levels, getting to coordinator, and then eventually getting that head coach. He's made a lot of connections. There's a lot of coaches that could come in here and be that he would bring with him to be offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, and that is very attractive. Again, what was the problem the last couple of years? Not having a good staff in place, right? I mean, it got weaker and weaker, and if Dan Quinn can bring in a good staff with him, a good experienced staff that you trust, that is going to be a big plus. Now, if you're going to the young, inexperienced guy, Ben Johnson, then you're saying, hey, this guy, yeah, he doesn't have any head coaching experience, but wow, he's that young offensive mind. He's the Kyle Shanahan. He's the Sean McVay. He's the, he's the next young offensive coordinator that he's going to come in and be the head coach, but he's also going to be the offensive coordinator, basically. I would expect that's what I would expect, anyways, that he would implement his system. He would be the one calling the plays as the head coach, and then we would just hope that he's hiring a good defensive coordinator to take care of that defense on the other side. Just from what I've heard in interviews, it sounds like he's got a good personality that players can get behind. So, again, Seahawks, they were there in person today. They got to interview him in person, and they got to see firsthand from themselves. Does this guy have what it takes to lead a team? To lead, a team of men and get them to the next level. I know he's got another interview with the Commanders as well. Some reports were out there saying that it was pretty much a done deal and that he would be going there. And then other reporters, such as Adam Schefter, said, no, that is not the case at all. He has not decided where he's going to go. He's going to take this interview with the Seahawks, and he's going to decide what his best option is, depending on who gives him the offer. If they both give him an offer or not, we'll see. Then again, another young coach, Mike McDonald. That's your third choice, right? That's our top three choices: Dan Quinn, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald. Now, Mike McDonald, I was just listening to 710 ESPN today. I don't remember who the guest was, but one of the beat writers over there for the Ravens, right? And boy, I sure do love that Ravens defense and what they're able to do and how they've been coached up to be at the level that they're at, right? Obviously, this last game they end up losing to the Chiefs. The game started out really bad for him, but he obviously made adjustments, and that was another thing that we were missing here the last couple of years is coordinators being able to make, and head coaches being able to make adjustments on the fly in game to get the results you want. Now they didn't get the result they wanted in the end, but they obviously were able to do much better the rest of the game after they made some adjustments. So it's good to know that he can do that. Now, again, going back to the interview I heard on 710 ESPN, I didn't like what I heard about Mike McDonald, just as a leader. Again, I don't know. That's the thing, though. As a fan, I have no idea. The Seahawks, John Schneider, he could be flying over to meet with Mike McDonald on Tuesday. They talk in person, and that could be totally blown out of the water. And John Schneider might be totally blown away by McDonald and say, you know what, I'm not going to leave here without telling you you're my next head coach, because you've blown me away with what you've done here today in your interview and shown me what you can do as a leader. But just from what I'm hearing, sounds like he's a little bit introverted. Maybe not in the front of a big group of people. He's not the most charismatic or that type of leader. And that kind of worries me if that's kind of the take on him. If he's going to be a head coach, I don't know if I like that. I mean, if the scheme is so good that it overrides everything else, then that'd be one thing. But I'm not sure that's the case. But again, I mean that I'm just speculating. I have no idea. I mean, with all three of these guys, Dan Quinn, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, if the Seahawks come out Tuesday night, they say, you know what, we finished our interviews, we're ready to just tell you. Maybe they wait till Wednesday. Either way, whatever day they decide to tell us who the head coach is, whoever it is between Dan Quinn, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, I will be very excited, because that will mean that in the interview, that person showed them, no matter what, some beat writer might say, what their outlook is on the person. That's going to tell us that the Seahawks organization is confident that one of these three potential head coaches has what it takes to be a head coach and to lead a team of men, because that's the most important aspect, that the most important trait that the next head coach can have is being a leader. That's the biggest thing. If for instance, if Ben Johnson came in here, had his scheme, but they start out the season 0-3, can he get that turnaround? Is he able to take that group of men and get them to still believe in themselves and get them to believe in him, to get that turned around and finish the season strong and then make it into the playoffs and make a run? Is he able to do that? Again, with Mike McDonald, is he going to be able to do that? This defense has been struggling for a few years now, especially the last 2 years. Does he come in here thinking, oh, well, my system's going to turn this thing around right away? But what if they struggle again that first couple of games? Does he have what it takes to get the confidence back in those men and get them to play up to their potential and get them to the next level? We know Dan Quinn can do that. We've seen him do that before. If he's the one that gets hired, then that should just tell you that the Seahawks are confident that he can do it again. So all three of these, no matter who they say it is, I'm going to be excited. Just how lucky are we as Seahawks fans that it played out this way? There was, 8 or 9 head coaching vacancies to start the search between all the teams here after the regular season ended. And who were all the hottest names for all the teams? Okay. Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald. Of course, there was Jim Harbaugh out there. To me, it seems like there was never a realistic chance that was going to happen. Bill Belichick, we know that was never really going to be a realistic chance for him coming here. and those were the hottest names, right? The biggest names, Dan Quinn being one of them. So we're down here to the very end. We're one of the last teams to hire a coach, and uh, here we are getting our pick of the three most sought after head coaches this offseason, not named. You know, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, uh, and so on. You know, all the legends that are retiring or fired this year. So yeah, you know, uh, like I said, positives, negatives for all of them, right? They have all lost in this playoffs. So it's not like we're hiring, you know, the next guy that took the team all the way to the Super Bowl. You know, that's not going to be the case here. So um, I see a lot of fans out there. They're so one track minded, like game to game. Um, I just don't know how you live that way. You don't look at the overall picture. You're just looking at what's happening in the moment. You got to look at the entire picture. What Dan Quinn has done in his history, you want that. Um, Ben Johnson, they were lighting up the scoreboard in that first half against the 49ers. 49ers made adjustments and the Lions got shut down in the second half. Does that second half make you go, oh, what, all of a sudden I don't want Ben Johnson as my head coach now? For me, no, that's not the case. I still look at the overall body of work and say, yeah, it's only 1 year as the coordinator, but everything else he's done beforehand leading up to this point, I'm really impressed with that. Same with Mike McDonald. Looked real rough in the beginning of that game against the Chiefs, right? But then made adjustments and got it going. So, you know, they still lost the game, so you got to throw that game out. But look at the overall body of work throughout the year and throughout his time as coordinator. You say, it seems like he knows his football. He's got something there. And then they'll find out about his personality and being able to be a leader. So they all got positives, they all got negatives. You can't just look at the last game because all three of them have lost the last game that they were in. So take a moment, look at their overall body of work, and you'll see that whoever they choose here, or whoever they end up with, they will. I mean, you should be very excited. Um, it will be strange all the way up to this point now if they somehow don't get their first choice, right? Because the Commanders, they seem to be a very intriguing spot for a head coach because they have the second overall pick, because they have a lot of cap space. Does somebody like a Ben Johnson want to go there and say, hey, I have the number 2 overall pick. I can get Drake May, I can get Jaden Daniels, and then I can groom them right away. Does again Dan Quinn, who's had a few interviews over there as well, does he say the same thing? Hey, do I just, I know I have this built-in relationship with the Seahawks already, but I have a team that I can really take and mold over there with the Commanders in my image. Because you're not going to get that done here in Seattle. John Schneider is holding the reins. We have a roster that we like on offense, especially, and you're going to have to work with that. And will that influence one of these coaches' decisions? Is the Seahawks job? Think of all the head coaching vacancies that there were this offseason or this season now. I think the Seahawks might be the most intimidating out of all of them. So Ben Johnson, or Mike McDonald, what if they just say, hey, I don't want to step into the situation. You just had one of the most legendary coaches, coached there for 14 years, had a ton of success, took you to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them. I don't want to be the next guy that steps in there. I'll go to the other team that has been horrible for decades, and I can try to turn around. And if it's done good, everybody's gonna love me. Whereas with the Seahawks, they have a good roster already, and they're people are expecting success right away. Is that pressure too much for them? Now, if one of these guys comes in here, and again, like I said, they're the leader man. If they, that's what I would do if I was interviewing for this job. I would come in and say right away, "Hey, I want this job. I want that pressure. I want to be the guy that takes over from Carroll, and then gets you guys back to a Super Bowl. Bring that pressure on. If one of these guys says that, you got to be excited. You don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be hiring the guy that goes, I really wanted that commander's job because it seemed easier, but you know, the other guy got hired over there, so I guess I'm going to take this Seahawks job. No, you want the guy that wants the Seahawks job. You want the guy that wants to walk in here and say, okay, I'm the guy who can get this team back to glory. You guys are close. The roster's there. Everybody's expecting something good. I'll deliver it. That's the guy you want. So hopefully that's the mindset of all three of these guys. I hope not. I hope not one of them is thinking, yeah, I'm hiring or I'm interviewing for this Seahawks job as my backup plan in case I don't get the Commander's job. I want somebody that's got the courage to come into what's going to be a tough situation, right? It's going to be tough because you're going to be expected to win right away here. All right, well, that's where we're at. We're down to Dan Quinn, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, the three candidates that I'm most excited about. What about you? Leave it in the comments. Out of these three, which one are you most excited for? Who do you want to be the next head coach? And if it's for some reason not one of these guys, let me know who it is. Is it Ejiro Evero? Is it Patrick Graham? Is it Mike Kafka? Other guys that had second interviews with the Seahawks? Is it one of those guys that you're looking for? I don't know. Let me know. I know these are the three I like, and I would be excited for either three of them just based on what I've seen from them. And then, yeah, we're down to it. So let's go Seahawks. Make the right decision here. And I have a feeling we'll be doing an emergency episode in the next couple of days here at the very most to let everybody know our excitement over whoever the next head coach is, because I expect the decision to be made very soon now that everybody is available to interview in person. They're going to want to hire that person once they know for sure who it is. They're going to hire them right away so they can start making all the roster moves that they need to make and prepare for the offseason, prepare for free agency, prepare for the draft and whatnot. So they're not going to, almost kind of lucky for the Seahawks that, everybody they wanted to interview was out before the Super Bowl. So they have that, we have a couple extra weeks now to get all that stuff figured out. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, hit the like button, leave those comments. If you're listening to the podcast version, please rate, review, subscribe, follow. That all helps the show grow. And thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with the sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.